them, those.
I should want for all mankind that there should be a shining light that would lead them to the happiness and joy that I've felt.
My
with
God.
the love of this earth and all the people on it.
Be gentle on your microphone. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another fine, handcrafted, articulate, curated show. My name is Kelly Wright.
And I'm James Ernest, and we're here all week, coming to you today from two secret black dark places. I've been so unhappy with my audio quality lately that I have built this sort of improvised sound room in my giant bedroom, surrounded with giant pieces of foam and whatnot.
Well, it's working because there's not the normal room sound that you have had in the past. So you sound warm and front and conversational.
I've always wanted to sound front. I remember when I was in grade school, my friends all said, "You sound too rear."
Front. You sound too rear.
Front.
No. And then with this excellent microphone now, with the sound you're picking up, start mumbling because that makes you a hot commodity, mister.
I just always wanted that people all over the world would maybe come together and just want to love each other as I have.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. James, how are you doing today? What's going on
Not
in
too
your
bad.
world? Okay.
I've been screwing around with this audio setup for like an hour, trying to make it sound good and, make the blackness that surrounds me at least somewhat palatable to the eye. And having turned off my air conditioner and surrounded myself with foam, I am already beginning to heat up.
I was going to say, you are now feeling what I feel when I'm in my cone of silence, where there's no air circulation and you just start warming up. So
Yeah, well, I guess everyone needs to experience that.
Are you using a soundproof blanket, or did you just buy like a regular fleece blanket and just throw it up?
What's hanging behind me is a rolling clothes rack with a blanket and then a sheet thrown over it. So
Perfect.
it is what I had.
That's what a lot of home studios do. They'll just build basically a blanket fort and record in there. So, and I had looked into that. However, me building a blanket fort still wouldn't have been enough to dampen the noise of dogs upstairs, traffic on the street, and stuff like that. So an actual little closet space has been built with double drywall.
I have the luxury, as it were, of traveling a lot and possibly traveling even more a lot in the days and weeks and months to come. So I need a decent portable studio and or to do this crap when I'm in a hotel room or whatever. But I am, in fact, in my pad in Las Vegas, though
Excellent.
You're missing the beautiful sunset behind me because of all the
know.
baffling.
I know. Some of the workshops I've taken with VO industry professionals who've been doing it for 15, 20 years, they have their equipment set up for travel, right?
Yeah.
However, they don't bring booths with them. And I asked the one guy, his name is James Allen Taylor. James Allen Taylor. I can't remember. I'm sorry, James. But
It's okay.
He basically, when he's in a hotel, he will take the couch that's there and he will tilt it up on its side, and then he'll stack the pillows from the couch and the bed and the blankets up around him and kind of jam the microphone into the fold in the couch and create like this little booth. And he's always worried the maid's going to come in and, like it's his murder closet or something like that. But he has his little setup where he records. So
Oh, no,
he's
murder
traveling.
closets look different. This is a sound booth.
yeah, they look very different. James, I don't know what kind of soft, cushy murder closets you're building, but it's not that.
You don't want to scare the pig. It ruins the flavor of the meat.
It's true. Stress-free.
Well, it's time for our opening segment, Conversation Starters, sponsored this week by Big City Family on cable TV. Tonight's Conversation Starter comes from a list of conversation starters for men. Kelly, if you could hop on a plane right now, where would you go?
It's a very good question. Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That's
Isn't
where I would
that
go.
nice?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
that
I
sounds
think,
really nice.
Where would you go?
I have been missing the Caribbean, like Aruba and San Juan and Curacao and such places. However, I interpret hopping on a plane also to include the fantasy of feeling safe where you land. So, like,
okay.
I want to hop on a plane to the Caribbean of my memories and not the actual one that's out there right now.
Got it. Speaking of travel and where you're headed, another place has been added to the CDC level 4 very high risk travel destinations, and it is Singapore. The city-state of Singapore.
Well,
has
that
been
was
added.
just waiting to happen, wasn't it?
Yes. So the popular favorites still remain on level 4: Austria, Belize, Botswana, Croatia, Greece, Ireland, Malaysia, Switzerland, Turkey, and the United Kingdom. So, yep.
Why aren't we on that list?
Because we're here. This is just telling Americans.
Oh, it's specifically for us, telling us where not to go, right? Because
it's the CDC. Yes,
staying
Centers for
home
Disease.
is even
Right.
worse. But here's all the places you shouldn't go to. Well, Janice, tell us about where you would fly off to if only you could. And while you're at it, check out the Here All Week Patreon page, wherever great links are found. What'd you do this week, Kelly?
This week, this past week, there was some working involved, and on Saturday we had a lovely dinner with a friend of ours who turned 50. Happy birthday, Eric. You are now 50. But he treated all of his friends to dinner, which I thought was very kind. So we all went to a lovely restaurant not too far called Grazie, great Italian restaurant. Eric and his husband have been patrons of that restaurant for years. And so they set up a lovely room in the back, and we met some of his wonderful friends and just had a great meal. So I had a lovely petite filet and an excellent cannoli for dessert. It was a lot of fun. It was nice. It was nice to get
Come on down to excellent cannoli. That sounds good. I have a friend who gives away, sends out cards and gives away presents and such on his birthday, sort of a reverse tradition. I think that's great. It's a good time. I tried to throw a party for my birthday, but have been nixed in the efforts these last 2 years.
Yes. Yeah, destination birthdays are tough, especially now. I know in the past you have done your destination birthday, and it's been very successful. However, COVID put the kibosh on that. So, COVID kibosh.
COVID and the kibosh now opening for posing Weimaraners at the Showbox.
I just learned something that I wasn't aware of. I didn't realize the company Zillow was in the house flipping business. Did you know that?
It makes sense that they are, yeah.
But I just thought Zillow was kind of like an aggregate of markets, of housing prices and
right, but there's no money in that, right? They not only do
Right.
they have their antennae up, but they're also doing lots of buying and flipping. I've gotten emails from Zillow asking me if I want to sell my house and so forth. We'll give you cash and blah blah blah. I'm sure they wouldn't give me enough cash, but that certainly seems to be the business they're in.
Right. So basically the news out today is that Zillow's going to stop buying homes through Zillow offers for the rest of the year because the company's iBuying program has too much inventory. There's far too much, and there's not enough workers, and there's the cost of lumber, and doing that is too expensive. So basically they said that we just have to wait. So they buy the homes, they fix them up a bit, and they sell them. And I never knew that.
As a complete idiot, I would have to guess, this is my idiot guess, they may have made the same mistake about the trends in the housing market that I did in this summer, which was that they wanted to get ahead of some post-COVID boom. And since post-COVID hasn't happened yet, they got a little ahead of themselves.
Yep. So they say they have, introduced the iBuyer program. Zillow offers in 2018, operates in 25 cities. And too much inventory. So they're going to basically try and get it off and get it off their records, and then whatever. But I
wish someone would get rid of all these houses I own.
Oh, darn.
It's hard to feel sorry for someone who can buy zillions of houses, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm not feeling bad about a giant company like that. We have too much inventory. It's a fire sale. Why don't you cut the costs in half? And that way you'll be able to get rid of them. See?
I would take a 75% off, buy one house, get one free of deal.
I think Zillow, this is your new business model to get rid of your inventory. Much like any car sale, you put somebody in a goofy costume, they do a bad television commercial, buy one, get one free. Okay? How about that?
And you can have this idea for the price of just one of your moderate to good houses.
Moderate to good, well-priced homes in a
nice
in a
house,
comfortable,
good house.
in a comfortable, middle class area would be great.
Location. That's what matters, right?
You can
always add a balcony, but you can't add a better neighborhood.
You can't. And so let's say it's within walking distance of shops and pharmacies and things like that. It's got a good walking score. So yeah, I'm totally willing to buy one and getting one free. So just so you know.
Good schools, a nice view. It needs to be high up for the view, but also low to the ground so I can walk up because I may get old and the elevator may go out.
I need the elevator. Can I have a water view?
It needs to have 1000x zoom and also fit in my pocket.
So I found also this interesting. We just mentioned schools in the neighborhood. Did you know Barbara Streisand Institute, the Barbara Streisand Institute is launching in UCLA?
I did not know that.
Mr. Onstein, here's my school.
I was racking my brain for a Streisand joke, and I just don't have it.
So the Barbara Streisand Institute will focus on 4 areas that the singer and actress is most passionate about: the public sphere, climate change, intimacy and power between men and women, and the impact
And this
of
little
art.
piece on the back of the neck, this little piece of skin back here.
I had
very
a biopsy.
tender.
It was my twin.
It could have been.
It had hair. It had teeth. Yes.
A fascinating area.
And the impact of art on the culture. And so the Institute's goal involves solving societal challenges. And here is Barbara's quote from her press release. "It is my great pleasure to be able to fund an institute at UCLA, one of the world's premier universities. This will be a place where future scholars can discuss, engage, and argue about the most important issues of the day, where innovators will speak truth to power, help save our planet, and make glass ceilings for women an anachronism, and in the process give us a chance to have a brighter, more promising future." So there you go. It's going to be housed in the UCLA Division of Social Studies.
That's a high bar.
Barbara?
That is going to accomplish a lot.
I'm just wondering if cost of admission or cost of tuition is you have to know the entire Barbara Streisand catalog.
Then I'm not eligible.
You're not eligible. I'm sorry, you're not eligible. I'm
She's
halfway.
a singer, right? Is that right? She did some
singer,
songs.
actress. She did theater. She's done movies. She's a very successful entertainer. So, and she's funding her institute. Good for her. I love that. Also, speaking of actresses, Melissa Joan Hart from she played Sabrina the Teenage Witch for several years on television. She took home a cool $1 million on Sunday's Celebrity Wheel of Fortune is what she did. I'm sorry, I'm getting my game shows mixed up. But the good thing is that they pick a charity. But she won $1 million for her charity.
So she didn't really take it home. She sent it off to somewhere else.
She sent it off to her charity called Youth Villages, which serves families and children across 23 different states in every kind of level, going through foster care and aging out of foster care especially. So congratulations.
And what was the winning words?
You know, I am looking through the article, and she managed to solve the bonus puzzle, which was bran muffins.
Bran muffins.
Yes.
Okay.
Bran muffins. And she says, quote, "I'm still shaking. Bran muffins. I'm going to have to eat one tomorrow, I guess. I'm going to buy stock in it or something." Thank you, Melissa Joan Hart.
Thank you. Wow. It's a good thing the answer wasn't cow pies.
Oh, yeah, but, you know, good for her. I'm so glad that she won $1 million for the charity of her choice. James, you want to take a break? Let's talk to our sponsor. Talk about our sponsor. Talk who is our sponsor.
I can do that.
Okay. All right, I have a question for you since you told me the pronunciation. Is it Achlees?
Achlees. Or Achlees. Achlees, I think.
Thank you.
That's my best guess is Achlees, and
Where did
or you
get
could just
that
say
name?
Achilles because that's pretty close.
Where did you get that name from? Did you just make it up?
No, I looked it up actually. They all these names mean something.
Achlees. Achlees.
They mean the awfulest things possible.
Okay, good. I'm glad. All right. This episode of Here All Week is brought to you by Big City Family.
The cable TV channel proudly brings you season 2 of The Big City Family.
In the big city, life is horrible.
But not as horrible as The Big City Family.
Meet Jupiter City, the domineering patriarch. He's at death's door, but as obnoxious... Meet Jupiter City, the domineering patriarch. He's at death's door, but as obnoxious as ever.
My children, I hate you all.
While Daddy flirts with death and teenagers, his worthless rich children plot to divide his empire.
There's Dristan City, Jupiter's eldest son. Dristan runs the family's worldwide pollution empire, and very badly.
With 7 ex-wives and a porcelain doll addiction, he's got his hands full at home and at the office.
This business should be mine.
Hey, bro, your shoe's untied.
What? Oh!
Then there's Achlees City, the cunning sister doing lucrative side crimes like drugs, explosives, and professional sports.
She's the strongest brain among them, and her brothers hate it.
If only she wasn't dating a serial killer.
Hey, hon, I'm just stepping out for a bite.
Kay, have you seen the bread knife?
Nope.
Then there's Julian, the worthless daddy's boy who never grew up.
He sucks money from the family like a piglet on a teat.
But he's still Jupiter's favorite.
Julian, my beloved, meet your new stepmother, Lorelei.
What's up, Julian? We're the same age.
Great. Hi, new mom. Dad, can I have $1 million? But of course.
Dad, Dad, does our company just only make pollution?
Yes, people crave pollution, child. It makes them whole, sets them free.
Watch the deplorable staff at Big City House as they plot and scheme to rob the family blind.
And watch the infighting executives at Big City Enterprises as they spin webs of deceit to bring down the empire.
You will hate literally every person in this show.
What's in store for Season 2? Will Julian set the world on fire with his latest asinine product idea?
Will Achilles set the world on fire with literal fire?
Will Jupiter's heart finally explode when the actor's contract is up?
Will Driston keep it together for long enough to make literally anything happen?
No, he won't, and you'll hate watching him try.
Watch Big City Family today. It's the biggest, cittiest family on cable TV.
Big City Family from the cable TV channel. Be city to each other.
They also do steaks. That sounds horrible, but yet I wouldn't be able to turn away.
That is exactly a show I'm watching right now. That's
Is it
Succession.
Succession?
It's
Succession.
Succession. That's my world's worst Brian Cox impression.
That is on my list to watch because what is it? There's 3 seasons right now, so
They just started season 3. They just started season 3. Honestly, I've only watched like 4 episodes of it, and I hear it gets better. But I must exercise the criticism of this show, which I've heard of many other shows in the history of television, which is literally what that ad is about. I hate everyone on this show. I don't want any of them to win. I don't even want any of them to live. There's like a kid who plays baseball in like the 2nd episode, and that's kind of cute. And then he turns out to be horrible too. No, not really, but like I fully expect that he'll come back in season 2 and just be a complete douche. So I don't know. I think you're supposed to want to root for somebody. In Game of Thrones, I think, there were plenty of people to root for, but like the Stark family is kind of like the main character of the show, and at least some of that main character survives to the end. But there's just they're just awful.
Awful.
Every
So
last single one of them is awful people.
That's a tough show to pull off because you always want to have at least a protagonist to
I
side
guess so.
with.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to make a train wreck, and it's hard to turn away.
Yeah. I will still on my list. Speaking of watching stuff, Squid Game, highly recommend it. Couple of caveats about it. It is interesting to have the English language overdub playing, and also have the English subtitles. Don't use closed caption. You're going to lose a lot of detail with closed captioning. Because with the English subtitles, they are doing almost a literal translation of the Korean language. So you're picking up very subtle things. Whereas with the overdub, they kind of switch it to be more standard English. So you're kind of losing. So it's good to have both, so I can catch the nuances of how someone answers someone. Like, no, like we're in this together. Whereas what it should have said was like, none of us own anything, kind of this thing. So.
This reminds me of
just a subtle difference.
When I was growing up, my friends and family would insist that to watch a baseball game on TV, you had to turn down the sound and listen to it on the radio.
Yes, I agree with
because
that.
the commentary on the radio was much more
Colorful.
evocative, I guess, because it had to be, as opposed to the dumb stuff they were saying on TV. And it's funny because typically games are the entertainment that you have to be taught how to enjoy. Like everything comes with a new rule book, and you have to learn that rule book before you can enjoy this instance of this art. And movies aren't typically like that. TV shows aren't typically like that. It's funny that Squid Game is. There's the one best way to play this, and don't do it another way.
Well, if for those folks who are fluent in Korean, good on you, because you'll be able to
watch it in Korean. It's just
fully
how do we
enjoy
deal
it.
with the
That's-
interpretation?
Exactly. How do we not lose? How nothing should be to not lose it in translation. So I had been doing some reading some different threads about the show, and a fluent speaking Korean person who fluently speaks Korean, even recommended that. Watch it with the English subtitles, and watch it with the English dub over it. You will get a much better understanding. I was like, great, good tip. So,
Or do what we do at home and turn the volume down and listen to a baseball game.
Listen to a baseball game. You'll get even more interesting commentary for Squid Game. I
Kelly,
guarantee
it's
the visuals will make no sense.
It's time for 10 silly things I read on the internet. Trivia for
Okay.
today. They say you should never make conversation about religion or politics because people
Nope.
believe some crazy stuff and they're willing to fight about it. So today I decided to read a long article about weird religion and I came across a few doozies, not just what they say, but how this article earnestly says it. Link in the description. Question 1. Actually, very few of these have been made because only a very holy person has enough spiritual power to animate a clay figure. What are we talking about?
Clay figure, animated clay figure. Is it Kokopelli?
It's a golem.
Oh, from the Jewish religion.
Golems are the human-like creatures from Jewish folklore, so
Yeah.
very few of these have actually been made. I suppose very few could mean 0. Item 2, click here to see an image of Lilith. Who is Lilith?
Lilith was considered the precursor to Eve. There's debate about that.
That is one of 3 correct
yes.
answers. I don't know if debate is the right answer. I mean, I don't think any of the stories are technically true, and that's why chances are clicking on that link will not show me a picture of her.
Okay.
She-
there are good artistic interpretations. However,
I suppose that's true. Depending on you ask, she was either Adam's first wife, or an angel who became Satan's lover, or a medieval siren who seduces men in their sleep. Who knows? It could be all 3.
she's a busy lady.
She's got a lot to do. Or she's a character on Cheers.
Either, yes.
Question 3. In the Karni Mata temple, visitors must remove their shoes and let upwards of 20,000 rats rush across their feet. Where is the Karni Mata temple?
Do you want city specific or is country okay?
Country is fine.
I'm going to say India.
India is correct.
Okay.
Deshnok is the city in northern India. The rats are believed to be reincarnations of people who will eventually come back as higher life forms. They were the descendants, relatives, and devotees of Karnamata.
Wow.
I only know about this
experience.
place. Aside from this page, I know about this place because they went there on The Amazing Race.
What an experience. I've never had that many rats run over my feet. I have, however, had about 13 to 15 ferrets run over my bare feet. So I'm guessing it's probably similar, right?
I suppose. Did you treat them as holy beings? Because that's what you're supposed to do here.
Well, we were rescuing them at the time, so we had the ferret room. So we could say release the ferrets, and then you stand in the middle of the room as far as, and they jump all over you and run over your feet. So I'm assuming that that's what the experience is like. Okay.
All right, item 4. In Hinduism, what's the name for the earthly manifestation of a god or goddess?
Earthly manifestation, isn't it it's not a Vishnu, is it? Is it a Vishnu?
Not according to this question.
Okay. Is it a bodhisattva?
It's an avatar.
Okay, got it. Sorry.
Just like in the movie. Many
like in the
Hindus
movie.
believe that the avatars of Vishnu have come to Earth at critical moments in history to save us from catastrophes, not including the movie Avatar. Question 5. According to Dagba tradition in Central Africa, a glowing rope once hung from heaven, and humans could climb it to talk to the gods. Eventually, it was destroyed and became what?
Oh, I've never heard this story before.
You'd have to guess.
And became what? It became sugarcane.
The stars of the Milky Way.
There you go.
You're close.
So close. So close.
According to the article, the gods got annoyed at humans always coming up and asking for stuff and complaining about their crappy life on Earth. Question 6.
Well-
A devil's mark is a suspicious-looking mole, wart, scar, or skin blemish offered as strong evidence of what?
You are a witch.
Indeed, witchcraft, a covenant with the evil one. Large-scale witch hunts began in the 15th century and lasted more than 200 years, although I guess not individuals.
Just one of those
Examiners-
things. Ugh.
would strip the accused naked and shave her body hair
Yep.
just to be sure. And if they were only real devil's marks, if it didn't hurt to jab them with a needle. But of course, a witch could always pretend to be in pain. What
Of
a time to
course.
be alive.
What a time, along with the dunking and along with the sitting you in a room long enough for your familiar to come in. It's a bug, a cat, whatever.
Question, item 7. When a demon gets inside a human and controls it, this is called what?
Possession.
That is correct. I love how matter-of-factly some of this data is presented in this article. Like, yep, that's possession. That's what that is. Demons do it all the time. Item 8 from the article, quote, some sources say that each man in heaven gets only 70 houris instead of 72. Of course, as a practical matter, this would make little difference. What are houris?
I believe they are virgins.
Uh-huh. They are virgin sex slaves. According to Muslim tradition, a man, his houris, and his wife will never have disagreements in the afterlife and will live together in a state of eternal youth.
Oh, nothing is more sexy than, a person who is just starting their sexual experiences and is scared out of their mind. So there you go.
I think they'd be, according to tradition, they would not be scared out of their mind. They would know exactly what to do.
Then apparently they're reading a lot.
Item 9. In ancient times, some Buddhist monks spent 2,000 days eating nothing but seeds, nuts, bark, and poison in an effort to become what?
Regular. Good Lord.
The answer is mummies.
Oh, okay.
Self-mummification culminated with entombment, where the monk was encased in stone with a hole for air and a bell to ring once a day. When the bell stopped ringing, they closed off the hole.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
What? So they're eating seeds, bark, and poison, slowly killing themselves.
Yeah, the poison is kind of the last part of the treatment, actually. You don't have to eat it for 2,000 days, but still.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
just
it's
whack.
basically embalming fluid.
That's whack. Oh my
That's
God.
whack, all right.
That is whack.
Item 10. To most people, the bread and wine still look and taste the same before and after this purported change takes place. What Christian tradition are we talking about?
Transmogrification.
Close.
Transmutation.
You're close again.
But that's what it's called. It's technically
Transubstantiation. The
That too.
conversion of ordinary
That
bread
too.
and wine into the flesh and blood of Jesus.
That too.
From the
something.
article, quote, most modern Christians doubt that the conversion really occurs at all, unquote. Or to put it another way, some modern Christians still believe that it does. Remember, kids, never argue with anyone about what they believe. Just back away slowly and wait for the rapture.
Just say, that's nice.
That's nice, Mom.
That's nice. Yeah, I learned about transmutation, right? Transmutation? Transubstantiation.
Substantiation, a change in the actual state of the
Right.
matter.
Right, in which I had learned, and unfortunately I couldn't remember the name right now, but went to Catholic school for 12 years. And of course, you go to Mass and you learn all about this. And so when they said, this is part of our belief, is we believe it actually turns into the flesh and blood of Jesus Christ. And I raised my hand. I'm like, then why does it still taste like sherry from my grandma's cupboard? They're like,
Yes,
no.
you were a skeptic. Those are to be squashed, I'm afraid.
I was squashed. I was. You asked too many questions, Miss Wright. Sit down.
We're not here to ask questions. We're here to learn. Oh, I have another question.
Okay, I have another question. Yeah. So there were some nuns who were very forward thinking and were like, well, it's a belief. We believe in that it happened at the Last Supper, but not necessarily here. But
I don't know. I feel like being told that a belief is something you don't really believe is really an avenue towards confusion.
Yep. That's why I'm no longer practicing. I'm recovering. I'm a recovering Catholic.
Recovering Catholic.
Yep. James, I'm going to tell you the history of pumpkin spice because it is the season and the pumpkin spice must flow.
Oh, I'm going to taste this all night. It's so good, the pumpkin spice. I have pumpkin spice muffins in my fridge from the grocery store. They're tiny. They're bite-sized. I have one a day. It's like an avalanche of pumpkin spice flavored cream cheese just assaults my senses, and they're very good.
That's delicious. This past weekend, I went to the mall with a friend of mine, and we stopped at one of my favorite stores to poke around in was Williams-Sonoma. Mm-hmm. And in Williams-Sonoma, they had samples of, and it was excellent, of pumpkin spice brittle. Pumpkin spice with pumpkin seeds brittle. It was excellent.
Okay.
It was good. It was good. Crunchy and sweet and salty and pumpkin spicy with pumpkin seeds. It was delicious. Anyway, Starbucks has sold about 200 million pumpkin spice lattes within the first decade.
That's how many I bought. Now, how many have other people bought?
Well, pumpkin spice, should you be questioning that, is a blend of cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and cloves.
Just
which
like the
toge-
song.
Just like the song, which together helped fuel a $600 million market. And that was from figures from 2018. And nutmeg was valued in the Middle Ages for many reasons, one of which it was thought to prevent the plague. I didn't know that.
So we
And
should be drinking even more of it now these days.
Even more, because we have our own plague thing. Plagued. In the 1700s, the Dutch secured a monopoly on nutmeg, which was only grown on the Banda Islands in Indonesia. Let's see. According to this article, while nutmeg has the bloodiest history of PSL spices, the others were still highly valued and sought after. Arabic countries kept a monopoly on cinnamon from the age of the Egyptians to the early 16th century. After a source of cinnamon was found in Sri Lanka, the Dutch and British fought over it for a few hundred years. Ginger and cloves were more widespread throughout history, but both were prized and only available to the wealthy for a long time. Yet, there you go. As it trickles down, the middle-class people get it. The low-class, the unwashed, will be able to savor the taste of pumpkin spice latte.
Well,
Basically,
the availability of rare spices and exotic foods to our modern times is quite wonderful if you take it in the context of all history.
Absolutely. I love reading. There's a book, it's called The Spice Road, and it's a fantastic book about just the battles fought over spice and seasonings and flavorings. It's fascinating. You read tons. What really shocked me was like, oh my God, people were literally killing each other over this because it was money. Follow the money, right? So wherever the money is where most of the
Right,
problems are
and
gonna happen,
spices
so.
are super expensive per pound. It's something you can transport a long way and still make a profit on it. And so, yeah, it makes sense that that's where a lot of the money was.
So the fact that we have the availability to go into our local greengrocer, our grocers, our supermarket, whatever, and just go up to the McCormick's spice rack and just, I'm going to grab this and this and this and this, not being really aware of the history behind it. So it's like you're holding literally thousands and thousands of years of history in your hands.
How come there's no pumpkin in it?
You got to add your own pumpkin, Bill.
Oh, I don't want the pumpkin. I just want the spice.
I just want the spice, the species.
Are you going to go see that new Dune movie? I'm really jealous. A friend of mine is renting a theater in San Francisco for this movie, and they're going to have a private showing. And I've been like, maybe I could fly all the way down there just to be a part of that, but no.
Is it just being released in theaters only, or what?
I don't know how we're supposed to see it. I think it's a theatrical release first. Obviously,
Yeah.
someday it will come to our
Right.
phones as well.
Yes, I have seen the trailers for it, and I am interested but hesitant because of the trauma I went through with the other movie with.
You've been burned before. Well, which other movie? Do you mean the latest Denis Villeneuve masterpiece, or do you mean the last time they tried to make Dune?
The last time they tried to make Dune.
It's quite a complicated thing, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Was Dune one of those movies that was like a 6-hour movie cut down to 2 for the theater, or?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, it was, and that's when it was Kyle MacLachlan who really shot to fame with Twin Peaks, but it was his first big acting role, and people were like, "Who is this guy?" But yeah, it was. I remember watching it and thinking, I don't really understand what's going on.
I think a lot of it was served up as voiceovers. Like when you have a 6-hour movie that you have to cut down to 2, and it's already completely fantastical, super future science fiction-y, like you wind up voiceovering it, and that's just bad movie making.
Yep, that is bad movie making. I did eventually read the first installment of the book, Dune, and I was like, okay, now I understand it a whole lot better. So hopefully this movie has distilled it to a much better.
I mean, or perhaps you're just supposed to know the libretto and go and enjoy the music. Like that's not unplausible.
No, that happens actually quite a lot. I mean, usually, there's people, but there's purists all over the place, where the people who don't like the Harry Potter movies and they love the books, and people who love the movies but they just hate the books. Anyway, tastes for all people.
There is another camp.
Tastes for all people.
That's right.
So drink your pumpkin spice lattes. Enjoy your pumpkin spice flavorings. It will happen. It keeps going until I think the end of the year, and then they pull it right after, I think, close to New Year, if I remember.
Right with the eggnog. They both go in the dumpster on the same day.
They do. They're done. Finished. Done. So enjoy. Links about everything we've talked about are going to be on the show page. Hey, we have a Patreon page. I'm going to put a link into there too. So if you're feeling generous, a little couple extra bucks our way to help keep the costs of the show down would be great.
And if you listen to the beautiful, clean audio version of our podcast, you might also check out the ugly, unedited video versions that we post on YouTube.
Yes, we have discovered that with our Squadcast platform, it decides to crap out on James usually halfway to 3/4 of a way through. And
I
then
am trying something different every time and getting the same result.
Okay. So I guess we just have to build a sock puppet of James and sort just kind of edit that in. And so, James takes a break and then sock puppet James comes in and finishes the show. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, be kind to yourself, be kind to your family, your friends, your neighbors, your community, because we are still all going through it. Thanks again for joining us. My name is Kelly Wright.
And I'm James Ernest, and we're here all week.